Hello everyone, welcome to Teacher Hanji's channel. For today's tutorial, we will solve word problems involving radical equations. For our objectives, we will recall on how to solve radical equations and we will solve problems involving radicals. Now, let's begin. Problem number 1. The square root of the sum of a number and 4 is 5. Find the number. So let us have our solution. So from our problem that involves radicals, it says here that we are asked for the number. So let us x be the unknown number. And from here, let us have the keyword. It says here that the square root. So meaning, our radicals contains index which is equal to 2, in which the radicand will be the sum of a number and 4. And this radical should be equal to 5. So now, our equation will be the square root of x plus 4 is equal to 5. Now that we have our equations, let us now apply our knowledge on how to solve radical equations. So to remove the radical symbol here, let us raise both sides by 2. Therefore, we have the square root of x plus 4 is equal to 5 squared, in which this one is equal to x plus 4 is equal to 25, in which the index and the exponent here is equal. Therefore, we will simply consider the radicand, while 5 squared is equal to 25. Let us now combine the like terms, in which we will transpose 4 to the right side of our equation. Therefore, we will have 25 minus 4. And 25 minus 4 is equal to 21. Therefore, the value of x is equal to 21. And the number is 21. Let's have problem number 2. 3 times the square root of 2 equals the square root of the sum of a number and 10. Find the number. So for our solution, again, we will let x be the unknown number since we are asked here to find the number. Now let us have our clue to make an equation. So we have here 3 times the square root of 2. 3 times the square root of 2 is equal to the square root of the sum of a number and 10. Therefore, from here, since it uses the word square root, then the index of our radical should be equal to 2 as well. Therefore, our equation will be 3 square root of 2, as what is said in our first statement, and square root of the sum of a number and 10. Therefore, we have square root of x plus 10. So this will be our equations. So from our equations, let us now apply solving radical equations. Therefore, from here, we will raise both sides by 2 to remove the radical symbol to the both sides of our equation. So we have square of 3 square root of 2 is equal to the square root of x plus 10. And this one will be equal to 9 times 2, since 3 times 3 is equal to 9, and square root of 2 raised to 2 is equal to 2, since we are just considering the radicand. And to the other side, we have x plus 10. We simply remove the radical side. And 9 times 2 is equal to 18. Let us transpose 10 to the left side of our equation, then we will have 18 minus 10 from here is equal to x. Therefore, the value of x is equal to 8, and that is the missing number. Let's have problem number 3. The square root of a number is multiplied by 4 and 7 is subtracted from the product. If the result is 5, what is the number? So from our solution, once again, we will let x be the number, since in our problem, you are asked for the number. And let us have our keyword. It says here that the square root of a number is multiplied by 4 and 7 is subtracted from the product, in which this one should be equal to 5. Therefore, our equation will be this one, in which we simply multiply 4 to the missing number, which is x, and from that product, we will simply subtract 7. Therefore, we have square root of 4x minus 7, it should be equal to 5. So from here, let us now raise both sides by 2 to eliminate the radical symbol. Therefore, we will have 4x minus 7 is equal to 25, in which 5 squared is equal to 25. Let us now combine the like terms. We will have 4x is equal to 25 plus 7. And 25 plus 7 is equal to 32. So to isolate x here, we need to divide both sides by 4. Therefore, our x is equal to 8. And that is the missing number. Let us have our problem number 4. The formula t is equal to the square root of b over 4. Represents the distance in feet that an object in t seconds, assuming that the air assistance does not slow down the object. In an object fall from the top of the building with a height of 1,730 feet, how long will it reach the ground? So from our number 4, it is different from our first 3 examples, since from the first 3, you are simply asked for the missing number. So from here, we are asked for the time in which the given object should reach the ground. So for our solution, we will use the equation t is equal to the square root of b over 4. Given that the height is 1,730 feet. And we will simply substitute this one to the distance or d in our equation. So therefore, we will have t is equal to the square root of 1,730 over 4. So from this equation, we will now compute for how long will it take that object will reach the ground. So from our equations, this one is different from what we did in our first 3 examples, in which we will simply find the numbers by raising both sides by 2 in order to remove the radical symbols. But in our case, we will not do that. Why? Because the t here will be affected, in which this one will be equal to t squared, and we will just go back with the radical symbol just to eliminate the squares to our t. So in order to avoid that, let us just simply evaluate the square root of 1,730 here, in which this one is equal to 41.6 after rounding it off to the nearest tenth. Therefore, t is equal to 41.6 over 4. And 41.6 divided by 4 is equal to 10.4. And that is the value of our t. Therefore, that objects will reach the ground in 10.6 seconds. Let's have our last example, problem number 5. To solve for the relationship between the length of one side of the base of a square pyramid and its height with its volume, the formula V is equal to the square root of 3V over H is used, where V is the length of the side of the base, H is the height of the pyramid, and V is the volume of the pyramid. Let us find the volume of a square pyramid if each side of the base is 6 feet long and the height is 2 feet high. So for our solution, the same with what we did in problem number 4, we will simply use the formula V is equal to the square root of 3V over H in finding the volume of the square pyramid given the base and the height. So from our formula, we will simply substitute the value of base or B, which is 6, and the value of H, which is 2. Therefore, we will have 6 is equal to the square root of 3V over 2, which b is equal to 6 once again, and h is equal to 2 from the given. And b here is the missing value that we need to find out. So the same with number 1, 2, and 3, we will simply raise both sides by 2 since we need to remove the radical symbol here. Therefore, we have 6 squared is equal to the square of the square root of 3v over 2. Therefore, we will have 36 is equal to 3v over 2. Remember on how we will isolate b here, given that its numerical coefficient is fraction. We will simply multiply both sides by the reciprocal of 3 halves, which is equal to 2 thirds. From here, this one will be equal to v, in which the other side would be equal to 72 over 3. And 72 divided by 3 is equal to 24. Therefore, the value of v is equal to 24. Then, the volume of the square pyramid is 24 cubic feet. So that is how we solve problems involving radical equations. So first, we must identify or find the clue words in order for us to create an equations out from the problem. And we will apply our knowledge on how we will solve radical equations. That's it for our video. Thank you for watching. See you again in the next video. Bye!